Felelős vállalatok a jövőért.
Panel discussion organized by JVSZ, Dr. Hajnalka Csorbai, OPTEN Strategic Director, Dr. Ágnes Fábián, Henkel, Hungary, President, Managing Director, Adhesive Technologies, President of the Joint Venture Association, Zsolt, Schneider Electric, Country General Manager, Moderator, Melinda Kamas, növekedés.hu, Economic Portal Editor-in-Chief. Let me extend a warm welcome to all of you at our discussion. The topic for us today is responsible companies for the future. So this is a panel discussion organized by the Joint Venture Association within the conference organized by the Hungarian Association of Executives. Now, my question is that as a Joint Venture Association is going to give an award about our topic. So how is it going to be, Ágnes Fábián? Yes, I am proud that the 35 years old Joint Venture Association that has quite many members and now has the task and the target that we need to consider what our companies do for the future, for society, and we need to give awards to companies. So we are going to hand them over on 30th of April here in the ballroom of Hilton. It will be quite an elegant gala event where we hand over these awards to companies, middle-sized and larger-sized companies. So I think that it's important to create value, and this gala event will help us look back on what these companies have done for sustainability, for our environment, and based on the decision of a quite serious evaluation carried out by a jury of competent jury members. So we would like it to be very spectacular, this event, and really we want to launch a very big process to create value. So that's going to be the very first event of this kind, and we've done a lot of our efforts already into this, and the opinions from quite many experts have been received to hand over these awards, and I hope that this is going to be the first of a series of events organized for the players of economy in many years to come. So OPTEN was actually involved. What considerations have you used? So actually we have put on our glasses of ESG, like the European sustainability goals that were the ones that we were looking at when we were evaluating companies. It's very difficult to say that someone is sustainable in terms of its economy, while all companies are expected to grow. Nobody allows a company to stagnate. So it's worthwhile to think about how much more we can pursue this goal of growing all the time. So we've been dealing with quite many data, and we analyze them, like CO2 emissions and what these companies have done in the various sectors, and then whether some companies have started to do some activities to reduce their CO2 emissions. Also, we actually analyze companies for the gender ratios for men and women in their management. What is the good proportion of men and women, you think? Well, actually, it's also good if there are no women. So, I mean, I do not insist to have as many women in management as many men. For instance, among atomic physicists, I was the only lady. So it was actually, I didn't want to be position somewhere because I am a woman. I really didn't want that. So I think someone has to be put into certain positions because of their capacities. But on the other hand, also, I don't want women to be given a secondary importance either. So the same applies to salaries. If, for instance, a company pays much less to women employees than the average in the country, then of course it's no good. But then it comes to the question of grey economy. And also, of course, sustainability is another issue. So companies should not live on public procurements alone. So we analyze these companies from quite many aspects. Well, Zsolt, when you are a #1 manager in a company, then what is your aspect? If it's a multinational, you get instructions, or what do you do? So, well, I think that it's the company also, and also the sector will dictate what a company will do. Because actually the company will have to deal with the sector where it is active in. At Schneider Electric, now I can work at a company together with my colleagues where sustainability is a basis for us in terms of social sustainability and environmental sustainability. So most of our developments are started on the basis of this approach. What is also important in our company is that since this is kind of a genetically entrenched target for us, this is part of our culture as well, that we want to have be sustainable. And now we are in a situation where all our colleagues are interested in sustainability. They really want to do something for that. It's easy for me, really, that if I want to get involved somebody from our employees in relation to corporate social responsibility actions or sustainability actions, all my colleagues are very open to these topics, so I do have some people to rely on. Now, I feel unfortunate for that. I feel very fortunate for that. Now, the other aspect in our company is the approach of the management. So I think that we have quite many managers who have this kind of approach, that they are interested in sustainability, and I think that it's very important. In whichever company I've been working for, I've always considered that important. So we, like executives, are looked upon by many of our colleagues and managers, middle managers. So we have to set a good example as executives, and especially in such topics as environment or economic sustainability even. So we have to be credible. And if you can do that, then you can create such an atmosphere of trust that can provide you with a good basis that your colleagues, employees will be conscious of that while doing their job as well. The other thing is that now we also included a consideration in the performance management considerations of colleagues and even managers, whether we as managers take into account the sustainability aspects. If you look at the annual reports of major companies, you will find quite an increasing part, a big section even, about what the company does for sustainability. So personal approach on one hand and the good role model is on the other, that can actually help us achieve a lot. Okay, I agree with that. But now, in this completely changed world, what can we do? Everybody is back from COVID now, that's fine, so we can again start focusing on ESG and environment. But now that we have these energy prices that will lead to big financial turmoil in the lives of many companies, what to do now? can we still remain environmentally conscious, or can we still consider the gender equality in such a big turmoil? I think that social responsibility should be on the top now, because now is the time for companies to show what they are willing to do. At Henkel, for instance, we wanted to help immediately. So we didn't look at how many kilometers to drive in order to get to the border, to the Ukraine, but we really wanted to see how to help, what to help. And it's nice to see so many volunteers going there, and that it's nice to see how many different company cultures are ready to help people from the Ukraine. For instance, if someone is a volunteer helping refugees from the Ukraine, will receive a day off, paid from Henkel. So now actually we are setting aside such aspects as how much it will cost in the supply chain and things like that, but instead now we are trying to help. And the next question then will be what to do in these markets, how we can actually handle this situation as an economic organization. Your activities are impacted, your mother company? Yes, from the global sales income, Henkel has 5% and from Russia and 1% from the Ukraine. And in Russia we have 11 factories. In the Ukraine we have 6 factories with 600 employees, and then we are a German company. So and here in Hungary there's a subsidiary company of Henkel. So yes, we are definitely impacted by the conflict between the Ukraine and Russia. So it's quite many questions that is raised by how by the situation, and especially how to operate now here as a subsidiary to this German company Henkel in Hungary. And social responsibility is clearly there, and now the number one aspect is our employees and their families. Well, we have actually have tackled quite many crises. The first one was in year 2008. So when the situation is not too good across the world or in Hungary, then what to do in terms of social, corporate social responsibility for companies? Companies do not want to survive, rather. So, well, I was thinking about it when I adore how Ágnes from Henkel mentioned that now they want to help first. And of course, most of the companies in Hungary are really having low liquidity and low capital, and these are the Hungarian companies are mostly smaller ones, so they are really impacted by this conflict as well, if for nothing else but for energy prices. So it means that there are it is a good situation when there are goals to set for ourselves, but it's something like a surgery, that the surgery went well, but the patient died. So actually, of course, for a company, it's important to achieve targets. However, the company must survive the road that needs to be covered to achieve those targets. So if a company had these good goals that were sound goals, and then these goals could be also helped by private persons, then it was something that was giving energy to the company. But in some cases, however, the life of the company requires the company to give secondary importance to sustainability because of energy aspects, maybe for a half year or a year. But on the other hand, everybody has the responsibility to do their share of efforts so that we can come back soon to the aspect of sustainability. We must, of course, have it in mind, but in certain situations we need to give secondary importance to sustainability. So I think that now the current situation really jeopardizes the sustainability aspect and the environment aspect. So Zsolt, the executive of a multinational company, is an easier situation. Do you receive instructions from the head office? No, I would say that we are in a different situation rather than easier situation. Actually, at Schneider Electric, of course, I do receive information from the head office, but regardless of whether it's a crisis situation or a specific situation, I have a specific framework to work within. However, what is good that locally we can also add certain specific things. At Schneider, we say that we want to be the most local, global company. So actually, we really want to utilize whatever we can here locally, and we want to adjust our activities to the local needs. Let me give you an example. Agi mentioned that it's very important that employees must be dedicated or even volunteering to do something in terms of sustainability. Well, in the past couple of years, we had quite a lot of turmoil, but nevertheless, I think that sustainability as an aspect has remained to be important, especially among young people. Last year, for instance, we organized a program with the objective that we wanted to get closer to university students. Everyone knows that the labor market is in a critical situation, and all of you are aware of that, actually the new generation of workforce is very important. So actually we wanted to organize this surrounding a topic that we wanted to be interesting to everyone, regardless of size and industry, and thought that sustainability would be the best topic. And therefore we visited universities as 4 universities, and then we made presentations to university students about sustainability. And I love figures, therefore let me tell you that 300 students we managed to approach. We visited 2 universities of economics and 2 universities of technology, and we had 300 students showing up at our presentations, and we only mentioned that this is going to be about sustainability. So it was quite a good news to us that we had so many showing up. And then what was even more of a pleasure for us, that after this we received about 70 applications to the program announced by Schneider that we want to have interns coming to work with us. And then it was that these presentations were attractive to these students because they found this topic to be very important. And then what is even more good of us is that we have already 15 to 20 young graduates already joining us in our workforce. So I think that sustainability, therefore, is becoming of increasingly important a topic. Can you confirm that for young people it's more important, sustainability is more important than for the older generation? Yes, I can confirm that. For instance, when I participate in discussions when we want to actually recruit people, and then young people actually do say that here we are not only talking about good working environment at Henkel and diverse organization, but they can see that it is really implemented in practice. A young girl said recently that I want people to talk nicely with me. So she says that she actually is not less of a value just because she is young. So I think I can just want to illustrate my idea with this example that the values are changing. So young people now want to feel secure, and if this is a young career beginner, wants to feel that she is of equal value and she is important just like any other employees. So of course they are not interested in the many benefits they may expect, but instead they want to feel respected, and they want to be part of a team where these are the values that they are valued and walk the talk. So it's very important. We learn that everywhere, that please give a good example how you can support your colleagues in terms of sustainability, in certain human aspects, coaching, how much time you have to devote to your colleagues. So this is the thing that young people are interested in, and so really their demands are changing. Okay, in the morning we had a panel discussion where it was men apart from Boris, they were talking about the proportions of women and men. So here in your organization, what is the proportion of women and men? Are you interested in global or Hungarian figures? In global terms, 30% of the proportion of women in the management. In Hungary, 41% of the managers are women. But we still have a lot to do, because on the level of the board, the top level of management in Hungary, actually, not only because of me, but there are some other, so even the HR person in the board is a lady, and the cosmetics person is also a lady. So in Hungary, in the top management even, we can produce this 40 to 60% ratio, and globally it's like 30%. So when there is a town hall meeting, and then you can ask questions from the board, then the questions are given that, well, this is on our flag that we want to have equal proportions of women, and then HR is the only place, and where are those other women in the board? So actually employees really want to see that. It's not all enough to speak about that. Okay, so let's talk about what happens in year 2022. So what will it mean for us in this year that you are a responsible company, and what to do in order to achieve that in reality? Because, of course, in this year we have the year of elections, and then many companies tend to actually reduce their activities for a while before the election. So what to do now that we can meet challenges in terms of economics? Well, I expect to have many bankruptcies to come now. I didn't expect it before the elections, but now I do expect them to come in the second part of this year and early next year. So the first task for all companies is to survive that period, and everyone should do what they can. And of course, in the previous roundtable discussions, we were talking about steps. So I think small steps are needed. Coming back to young people, my daughter actually requested a selective garbage collection possibility as a present for her 18th birthday. I told her that, well, it's better than asking for an atomic plant, a nuclear power plant. But when I was 18 years old, I didn't think of such a gift to receive. But my daughter wanted to have that. So it means that young people also can help us to organize things. We not always have to invest a lot. 2 days ago, I actually came back from Iceland, and then I just thought when I was there that they want to become the #1 carbon neutral company. How come that everybody is thinking about that? And then the lady from Iceland said that, well, we levy quite heavy taxes and very serious legal regulations. I really expected quite many different answers, like the nice environment and things like that, and it was enough. It was not enough, not even in Iceland. They had to apply quite a heavy regulatory environment and very strict tax regime to achieve that, because it comes to profits. First, the tax regime and related to profits, and if it's not successful, then the regulatory environment comes next. So actually, it was not just one step in this process that in Iceland they achieved it, but actually step by step we have to proceed towards that. No, I don't agree with the quota for women. I agree with regulations, but for the quota for women, I disagree. Well, Zsolt, what challenges can you see ahead of us in year 2022? So if I look back on the previous 2 years, it was 2 years of COVID. And even it was challenging, we learned a lot. So it was very fast changes that we experienced in the past 2 years. but we are over the most difficult part of it. We are over some of it, but not all of it. And I expect that in year 2022, we still have many more changes to come that we cannot expect, and it will be fast. So we have to be able to react fast. We are not going to have enough time to analyze things, but rather we have to rely on our instincts. And we have to be agile. We have to be able to explain what we want in a transparent manner. And then I am just talking about what my company, our company do, and is doing. We have to communicate a lot. We have to communicate towards the outside world. We have to communicate to our colleagues about how we handle a situation, whether it's a health situation or a political situation. So I think as a company executive, our task is to maintain proper operations for our company, so in a sustainable manner, of course. And I don't mean to say don't mean to use the word survival, because in some companies it is about survival, but rather I say that we want to operate in a rational manner. And also what I can say that every crisis has an end to it. So it's a question who can survive this period, but when the crisis is over, it's a question how strong you are. So you have to get prepared for being strong when the crisis is over. You have to be stronger and more experienced, and then you have to have such managers at the beginning, leading the company. What company do you expect Schneider to be there? I think that the Schneider will be successful and communicating well after the crisis as well. Or if it's a big company will always have to grow. This is what we plan, and this is realistic. And we not only want to become bigger, but better as well. If we are better, then we become bigger as well. But I think sometimes being better is worth more than becoming bigger. But of course, we are planning growth for the company this year as well. Okay, Henkel. At Henkel, what do you expect? Well, I agree that so far we have had this crisis management period behind us, and we really thought that it cannot become any worse than that, but it could. So crisis management is that still ahead of us and continues, and we have to institute actions that we do not know yet what to plan for. So we do not know how big the crisis will be. So, for instance, today we announced that Henkel is going to withdraw from the Russian market, and we have had quite a lengthy discussion about that for the past couple of weeks, and we didn't know anything, and we still had to make decisions. So we do not know what financial impact this decision will have on Henkel. And of course, meanwhile, we executives have to keep our teams motivated, even though we do not know whether we can really achieve on our targets. But nevertheless, we have to accept this situation, and we have to keep communicating things, and you have to have plan A and plan B. So I expect very hard years to come. And how about you as a joint venture association person? What can you see your members are talking about? Well, what I can say is that we have an increasing membership. So it means that all our members want to have more and more discussions with each other. So actually, this is above sectors, this association. We have manufacturing sectors, small companies, big companies, every kind of company. So it's very nice that executives and managers keep talking to each other. And when there's this board meeting and there's a question that, what do you know, how big this impact on the energy will be coming from the Ukraine-Russian conflict? So everybody would like to talk about things and get information as much as possible. So the Joint Venture Association, I think, therefore, is a very strong professional platform, and therefore we can help each other in this situation. Okay, I can only encourage you to have more discussions and be responsible companies. Thank you very much.